in terms of choosing a particular drug and particular method of treatment. And certainly this role that the doctors have, I think one thing we are very good at is being leaders, because we are very good at synthesizing information from multiple sources, pulling it all together and coming to a series of decisions, sometimes very quickly, sometimes very carefully, sometimes very slowly. But it is that we have those skills, which is that we can look over the horizon and see what policies may be coming our way, what policies we can influence, and how do we go about working with patients and carers and families to influence politicians into getting what we want. And we did a piece of work in our college looking at the patient expectations from the psychiatrists, and what they wanted were issues to do about it. They wanted psychiatrists to listen to what they were saying. They wanted us to give them information, and they want an acknowledgement of lifestyle issues and working with them in an honest and confidential way. And again, I've touched upon confidentiality, and we can sort of have a discussion as to what it means in different cultures. And it is about what they want is doctors to be clinically competent, be good educators. And psychiatrists are very good at doing three things. We are very good at giving hope to patients no matter how hopeless the situation is. We are very good at dealing with ambiguity. We are very good at dealing with uncertainty. Do you know of any surgeon who can be uncertain? When in doubt, open up. That's all they do. But as psychiatrists, we have the skills and the professionalism to deal with it. And also, we ask the trainees, psychiatric trainees in the college, as to what their views about professionalism are. And it is that they would like us to create a charter of excellence as to what are the characteristics of a psychiatrist and what we should be doing. And within the college early this year, we produced a document called The Role of the Consultant Psychiatrist, which is available on the college website, and it's in the public arena, so you can go and have a look at it. Employers, again, want psychiatrists who have the training, knowledge, and ability to lead. And I think that's quite important. And public wants us to focus on stigma. And again, it'll be very interesting to see what the Thai experience is in dealing with stigma on mental illness. So the challenges for us as professionals are about the point about self-regulation. How do we regulate ourselves? Do we work with carers, patients, lay people who set the standards for us, or do we set our own standards? And we also need to look at, in the UK, there's a model of revalidation coming, that every consultant psychiatrist, every psychiatrist over a lifetime, every 5 years, will be revalidated. But we can't be revalidated in isolation, because we have to look at the system within which we are working. We have to look at the services we provide and the teams we work in. So it's quite important to bear that in mind. And I think the colleges have an important role, which is about getting patients and carers to advocate for us as we advocate for them. We have a responsibility to our members to encourage leadership, to develop skills as medical managers, and also to be more flexible in learning and managing. So it is important for us that we need different strategies to deal with policymakers, and I think certainly that's a lesson from the UK, and be very helpful to have a discussion on that. So I think I'm going to leave you with this thought that in order to accumulate authority, in order to make sure that people listen to us, we as a profession have to speak with a single voice, and that is what conveys authority. Thank you very much for listening, and once again, thank you very much for inviting us It's been an absolutely wonderful experience, and I look forward to interacting with you over the day or two. Many thanks.